Hello everyone, and welcome back to Vigo playing Dragon Age Origins. After quite some thinking, I decided that, well, the obvious answer should be the boy to stay behind. Because yeah, in the end, it's just an animal. My second choice would have been Alistair, since he's a warrior and I am a warrior, so it's quite redundant to have a second one. Alright, so let's go. Okay.
It has begun.
Limestone.
You're gonna make more trouble? We've about all we can stand in Lothering now. They had it coming, and they were trouble enough themselves. So long as you don't start more, I won't get excited. Right then, name's Denal. Sorry I can't chat much. As you see, we've a full house. Look around. People are sleeping on the floors and in the attic. That's how many rooms I don't have. When Tiernan Loghain marched by, he left those fellas behind to look for Grey Wardens. I suppose that's you. I have no qualm with you, whatever the Tiernan says. My grandfather served. Your secret's safe with me. What can I get you then? I hear news from Dinnerham that Tiernan Loghain has been declared the new regent. It makes sense, his daughter being the queen. Anything else I can get you? I've heard a lot of stories of bands of Darkspawn roaming the countryside far north of the Kokori Wilds. They just seem to appear out of nowhere and disappear just as fast. Anything else I can get you? Thank the Maker we didn't lose Tiernan Loghain at Ostergard. He pulled his troops out just in time, so it said. Without him, we'd be lost. Anything else I can get you? I hear that Tiernan Loghain, the regent, is calling for new levies of troops. He wants to rebuild the army we lost at Ostergard. Thing is, there's not a lot of spare men to be found. Out at Dragon's Peak, there's press gangs roaming around, grabbing any free man they can lay their hands on. Anything else I can get you? There's knights from Redcliffe spread all over Ferelden on some kind of mission, but I hear that they're starting to become rare to find. Maybe they all went back to Redcliffe. More likely they got tired of searching for something that can't be found and abandoned their search. I wonder what Earl Eamon is gonna do without any knights. Anything else I can get you? With King Cailan dead, the throne falls to Queen Anora. She's made her father the regent, however, at least for now. I think Cailan's father, old King Merrick, would have approved. Anything else I can get you? Some folks aren't happy about Tiernan Loghain being named regent. There are rumors he had something to do with the king's death. Isn't that the most ridiculous thing you ever heard? The Darkspawn killed him, sure enough. If Tiernan Loghain couldn't save the king from that end, then nobody could. Anything else I can get you?
You have a lot of rumors.
I heard from some travelers that something bad might have happened in Redcliffe, overrun by Darkspawn, maybe. There's no word from the village at all. A merchant friend of mine said he encountered someone fleeing the place and there was nothing waiting for him there but death. He wisely turned around and came right back. Anything else I can get you? I hear the Dwarven King is passed on. Old as he was probably poisoned or assassinated. That's how the dwarves normally go out, isn't it? Anything else I can get you?
You don't seem to recognize that you are talking to a dwarf, so I'm
Luck
going.
speed your way.
So Darkspawn killed the king? What are we supposed to do? I don't want any trouble.
You're here about food. Take it up with that bleeding runt by the chantry. I got other gear to sell. A whole mess of refugees come in and leave near every night. All have hungry bellies, sad tales, and mementos for barter. I sold that bleeding merchant outside about half my larder 2 weeks back, and now he's charging outrageous sums for all my food. Hardly. Oh, maybe a cantankerous so coot, but I'm not going to beggar everyone comes by for a loaf of bread.
Okay. Aha! Change party button is here. I see. So yeah, we're always bored. Chantry ropes. Well, let's see what happens when I move this here. Yeah, I knew that will happen. Funny. Quite funny. Hey, can... Okay, enough of fun.
You're here about food. Take it up with that bleeding runt by the chantry. I got other gear to sell. You did? Well, I don't know what to say to that. Thanks.
Yeah. I don't get it why there is a exclamation mark.
You're here about
above
food.
his
Take it
head.
up with that bleeding runt by the chantry. I got other gear to sell. Check the chanter's board by the chantry. There's good jobs there. I don't suppose you know anything about poison. I figured if I kept asking, I'd find someone. I'd pay good coin for some simple poison. Something to slow them beasties down or make them think twice.
Nope. No, I said no. Why did I got the quest? Well, I won't bother with such a quest.
I'm trying to listen to the bard's song.
As I live and breathe, you're the Grey Warden everyone's been talking about. I represent the Blackstone Irregulars. We're a mercenary company that fell on hard times after the war with Orlais. I'm sure you know that times are getting worse every day. With your help, the Irregulars could be of use to Ferelden once more. Our leaders thought you might be willing to help. Each of our posts in Ferelden will contain letters addressed to you. Unlike most who work with us, you're getting letters straight from Raelnor and Tauran, our leaders. I hope this tells you how highly the Irregulars regard the Grey Wardens.
Once again, I'm not really getting this. I'm not interested.
I understand. If you change your mind, come to any Blackstone Irregulars post and check for letters addressed to you.
Ah, more side quests.
I brought my family to Lothering because I thought it would be safe.
Please, I must continue playing, else I earn no coin tonight.
Sorry, I don't know any dwarven songs. I just play what the innkeep asks.
No dwarves in the kitchen. You think I don't see your grubby little hands snatching all the rules? Out.
I want to go home.
There we go. So let's start.
Yes. Lothering? I think it started as a settlement by the river, and then grew when it became the place where two roads met. There are always people in Lothering, but many are just passing through.
Okay.
It has begun.
What's to be done? What can we do?
Just keep your head down, that's what. And your wits about you.
We're planning on running that mine until the last minute. Feleron's orders.
Okay.
Hello, stranger. I don't suppose you know anyone that can make traps?
No.
I didn't mean to bother you. Sorry.
I mean, really, what does all of these loots? Yeah, why does all of this loot hide in barrels and chests and stuff that everyone can get to and steal? Yeah, we are basically stealing even when I just go to a barrel and put stuff out of it, and especially when I use a rogue like Leliana to open up a locked chest, then that's especially stealing. So yeah, I'm not getting it.
We were lucky. We had the coin to pay the toll to those bandits. Many didn't.
You got a bed for the night. You taken care of. Don't need blades right now. We need beds, food, and an end to all these sad sots. I don't suppose you know anything of tonics, medicines, or herbs.
Yeah.
Pity. I've a dozen things to do and only 2 hands to do them. Good luck to you, stranger.
All of this side quest doesn't
They say
interest
your
me
mother
much.
is Flemeth, a witch of the Kokari Wilds.
They also say that washing your feet in winter makes you catch cold in the head, but we all know that is not true. But sometimes they are right, and they are right in this.
You know the stories about...
Of course. You think my mother would let me go without telling me all the stories of her youth?
My mother told me stories too. She was the one who kindled my love of the old tales and legends.
My mother's stories curdled my blood and haunted my dreams. No little girl wants to hear about the wilder men her mother took to her bed, using them till they were spent, then killing them. No little girl wants to be told that this is also expected of her once she comes of age.
I see.
No, you don't. You really don't.
Chicken. Look, guys, a chicken. Buck, 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 buck. Buck, 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 buck. Hey guys, a
We
chicken.
were lucky. We had the coin to pay the toll to those bandits. Many didn't.
Yeah. Hey, there's a chest.
What now?
More stuff for you to steal.
How dare you? I saw you take the supplies from my car. Your grassland eyes are inept. A chastened would never stoop to petty theft. You marsh folk are all thieves and liars.
Enough! People here are already desperate and frightened. They don't need you two coming to blows.
The carnage we left in the wilds was horrifying.
I said enough!
Shokke Basitisra, Marad Starit. You aren't one of my captors. I have nothing to say that would amuse a dwarf. Leave me in peace. A prisoner. I'm in a cage, am I not? I've been placed here by the Chantry.
The revered mother said he slaughtered an entire family, even the children.
It is as she says. I am Sten of the Beresad, the vanguard of the Kunari peoples. If you haven't heard of us, that is your own shortcoming. Though it matters little now, I will die soon enough.
This is a proud and powerful creature, trapped as prey for the Darkspawn. If you cannot see a use for him, I suggest releasing him for mercy's sake alone.
Mercy?
Mercy?
I wouldn't have expected
Yeah.
that from you.
I would also suggest that Alistair take his place in the cage.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I would have expected.
I suggest you leave me to my fate.
I could end it for you now if you prefer.
I have been convicted of murder. Have the villagers not spoken of this? Death will be my atonement. Perhaps. What does your wisdom say is equal to my crime? Importance is a matter of perspective. From here, very little seems meaningful. The Blight. Are you a Grey Warden, then? Surprising. My people have heard legends of the Grey Warden's strength and skill. Though I suppose not every legend is true. Perhaps if you told her the Grey Wardens need my assistance, it seems as likely to bring my death as waiting here. Farewell, then.
To be left here to starve? Or to be taken by the Darkspawn? No one deserves that. Not even a murderer.
So, we could go and talk.
You wish something more of me? My preference is death in battle. Failing that, I will wait for the Darkspawn.
To be left here to starve? Or to be taken by the Darkspawn?
So
No
yeah,
one
we
deserves
should
that.
talk with Devil
Not
and
even a
Mother.
murderer.
Okay. So that means going back.
So, let me get this straight. You were a cloistered sister?
You must have been a brother before you became a Templar. no?
I never actually became a Templar. I was recruited into the Grey Wardens before I took my final vows.
Do you ever regret leaving the Chantry?
No, never. Do you?
Yes. You may not believe it, but I found peace there. The kind of peace I've never known.
It used to get so quiet at the monastery that I would start screaming until one of the brothers came running. I would tell them that I was just checking. You never know, right?
No, I never did anything like that. I enjoyed the quiet.
Suit yourself. The look on their face was always priceless.
So where was the Templar again? Is that? Yeah.
It's good to see you again, Sister Leliana.
Thank you, Sir Merrin.
Is he still alive? The revered mother put him there a few weeks back. He'll be dead soon enough. Make her watch over you.
Hello again. What can I do for you? I was there at the farmhold. The beast stood there, wet with the blood of the children. He didn't even deny slaughtering them. The revered mother ordered him caged. She has more mercy than I do. But perhaps she is right, and the Maker has love for all his creations, even the Qunari. You can ask the revered mother. I say let him rot until the Darkspawn claim him. Other than the Darkspawn horde bearing down on us, none of it is good. Teyrn Loghain is set to declare himself king, I hear. Disaster piled on disaster. None that we know of. Teyrn Loghain has no legitimate claim on the throne. He may be a hero and his daughter may be queen, but he is a commoner. And the king's corpse is barely cold. If Arl Eamon was able to intervene, perhaps it would not have gone this far. I do not care who takes the throne. Only fools fight over who owns a cottage while it burns down around them. Now, unless there's something else you need. If the matter is important, certainly. The revered mother leads this flock. I merely command her Templars. Normally, our role is to protect the Chantry and seek out unsanctioned magic. For now, it is all we can do to protect the innocent.
Let us pretend that I was such a mage. What would you do to me?
I have no time to even think about such things right now. My concern is protecting these people. I see nothing threatening them other than the Darkspawn. We have more than swords at our disposal. We're taught to dispel unholy magics as well. If only our powers work to keep away the Darkspawn. Alas, it is not so. Our ban was summoned by Teyrn Loghain, and he took his soldiers north with him. Lothering has been abandoned. Travel safely, and may the Maker watch over you.
Please do not cause a disturbance. Matters are delicate enough with all the newcomers.
May the light of the Maker guide your path. The Chant of Light. Surely you know it. The chant is our devotion to the Maker, our first commandment as followers of his prophet Andraste. The entire chant takes weeks to sing and is only done straight through at the Grand Cathedral in Val Royeaux. Here we can only sing a few verses per week and finish anew each first day. May the Maker watch over you.
Good day, Sister Leliana. I'm surprised to see you're still in Lothering.
It is good to see you as well, Your Reverence.
Is there something I can do for you, then? It might have been kinder to execute him, but I leave his fate to the Maker. Why does he interest you? The Maker demands justice, regardless of his race. He butchered an entire farmhold. Only one of the youngest hid long enough to survive. The child said his father had found the Qunari gravely wounded and took him in. That kindness was repaid with murder. The bandsman found the Qunari just standing amidst the carnage. He did not resist them. He confessed quite readily, but would give no reason for the crime. Even the seasoned knights who apprehended him were disturbed by the carnage. However docile he appears, do not be fooled. That Qunari is a danger. Then his next victims might count you and me as their murderers. And what do you say on this, Leliana? You know your friend better than I.
These are unusual times, Your Reverence. With us, the Qunari might do some good. I am sure of it, in fact.
Were things not so desperate? Very well, I trust you. Take these keys to his cage and make her watch over you.
Thank you, Your Reverence. Your trust is not misplaced.
Nice. That was easy. Probably because Leliana is in my party. I have to imagine if Leliana was not in my party, then this would have gone more difficultly. That was super easy.
You are very beautiful, Morrigan.
Tell me something I do not know.
But you are always dressed in such rags. It suits you, I suppose. A little tear here, a little rip there to show some skin. I understand.
You understand I lived in a forest, I hope?
Maybe we could get you in a nice dress one day. Silk. No, maybe velvet. Velvet is heavier. Better to guard against the cold in Ferelden. Dark red velvet. Yes. With gold embroidery. It should be cut low in the front, of course. We don't want to hide your features.
Stop looking at my breasts like that. 'Tis most disturbing.
You don't think so? And if it's cut low in the front, we must put your hair up. Show off that lovely neck.
You are insane. I would sooner let Alistair dress me.
It'll be fun, I promise. We'll get some shoes too. Shoes! We could go shopping together.
Okay, I just got an idea. Ah, it's restricted. No, I cannot give clothes to you. Okay. Idea denied. That would have been fun. Okay.
You wish something more of me? I confess, I did not think the priestess would part with it. So be it. Set me free and I will follow you against the Blight. You may try. And so it is done. I will follow you into battle. In doing so, I shall find my atonement. Then I will find it myself. May we proceed? I am eager to be elsewhere.
Okay. Once again, I am limited by the 4 characters, so I mean, it would be interesting. Still is higher level than Alistair. Once again, decisions. Oh. Oh.
Oh, blast it.
Yes.
Vashaden.
Yes.
Well, it would be interesting to see if Stein can get redemption.
Vashaden. Vashaden.
Yes.
Vashaden.
Yes.
Oh, blast it.
Oh, blast this.
Yes.
Oh, blast it.
Yes.
I like the guy.
Vashaden.
Blast and damnation. Indeed.
Blood and damnation. Indeed.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, it would be interesting to see if Stan can get a redemption of getting going on. So I will take him.
Why are we stopping?
Never mind, let's keep moving.
There are darkspawn to be fought. Is this delay needful?
I like the guy already.
You are concerned. No need. I am fit enough to fight.
I like the guy.
I am. I have always fought in war, dwarf. No. Get used to disappointment. People are not simple. They cannot be summarized for easy reference in the manner of, the elves are a lithe, pointy-eared people who excel at poverty. Many humans have said that to me. I do not understand it. If I were indeed hostile, you would be bleeding. Couldn't you tell? As you wish.
Stan approves.
Yes. Sitting, as you observed. Thank you. I did. Parshera, was there anything else? Speak, then. Then I suggest we move on. I am hardly surprised. To answer a question. The Arishok asked what is the Blight. By his curiosity, I am now here. The one who commands the Antam, the body of the Qunari. Qunari have no kings. Why do you? Is it? If the Darkspawn are attacking Ferelden, doesn't that mean there are fewer preying on your own people? Don't strain yourself pondering that. I do not know why the Arishok sent us. He commands and I go. A portion of it. Were you not at Ostagar when the army was overwhelmed? That is your answer. Why do you? Exactly. You don't ask, nor do I. The Arishok sends me and I go. Yes. I cannot go home. It doesn't matter now. Can we move on? We keep the Darkspawn waiting. Speak, then. Then I suggest we move on. As you wish.
Okay.
Yes? Lothering? I think it started as a settlement by the river, and then grew when it became the place where two roads met. There are always people in Lothering, but many are just passing through.
Okay. Okay.
We done heard what was said. You're a warden. I don't know if you killed King Cailan, and make her forgive me, I don't care. But that bounty on your head could feed a lot of hungry bellies. Attack!
Okay, so I didn't check out. Oh, Stan doesn't have anything. Well, sorry guys.
Try to be merciful. Not defend yourself.
That should not have taken as long as it did.
It shall be done. Very well.
Yes. Speak, then. Then I suggest we move on. I am hardly surprised. Very well. As you wish.
More bandits.
That will be answered.
Oh, they got me.
So be it.
I am your death. Damn it. Now we
It is done.
Enough.
Damn it! I hate this bar.
As you wish.
Delightful.
Easy peasy. So now everyone have these penalties because they were knocked out. And so I have to go to a party camp. But it's not available. Okay. More of them there. Not really need to attack them.
Away with you, foul creatures! Leave us alone!
Nice.
Let us end this!
The Paragon was over.
I never liked this part. Let's end this.
So you guys?
Mighty timely arrival there, my friend. I'm much obliged.
You are welcome.
The name's Bodon Fedek, merchant and entrepreneur. This here is my son, Sandal. Say hello, my boy.
Hello.
Road's been mighty dangerous these days. Mind if I ask what brings you out here? Perhaps we're going the same way.
Yeah.
Complicated? Somehow I imagine that only says half of it. Thank you for the offer, but there may be more excitement on your path than is good for my boy and me. Allow me to bid you farewell and good fortune.
Goodbye.
Now then, let's get this mess cleaned up, shall we?
Hello.
We'll be off as soon as this mess is cleaned up. Thank you, kindness, for all your assistance.
Yeah. Stan is missing all the armor and stuff. I could just get Alistar back to the party and take his armor.
Vashaden.
Yes.
Yeah, I can game the system. Yeah. Yeah, you can keep your wallet token.
Oh, I lost it.
Yes.
That's funny. And now you can have proper equipment. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could give her a second weapon. I'm not sure how much good that would be. I see. Okay. Sealed letter from a blood mage. Demonic poison, eh? Three flask of venom. I should go back and repair him the demonic poison. Yeah. Okay, so are we out of the area? I still cannot go to a party camp. Ah, okay, now. Why is Alistair in the camp, Nick?
Bad dreams, huh?
This is glorious.
Well, it is real, sort of. You see, part of being a Grey Warden is being able to hear the Darkspawn. That's what your dream was, hearing them. The Archdemon, it talks to the Horde, and we feel it just as they do. That's why we know this is really a blight. He did. He said he felt the Archdemon's presence. Everyone just assumed he was guessing. It takes a bit, but eventually you can block the dreams out. Some of the older Grey Wardens say they can understand the Archdemon a bit, but I sure can't. Anyhow, when I heard you thrashing around, I thought I should tell you. It was scary at first for me, too.
I'm not fighting.
I screamed like a little girl. Duncan said he thought I had someone in my room. Not embarrassing at all. Anyhow, you're up now, right? Let's pull up camp and get a move on.
Okay, so we are in a camp. I see.
Yes.
So now that you are in my party, I can give you this. So you look normal. Okay. Hey, boy.
Oh, why, you little...
Are you harassing my
Me?
dog?
Harassing your dog? I should say it's the other way round. Your furry friend here took offence at me getting near his food. He snapped at me. Look.
Good boy. Teach the silly Alistair a lesson.
Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me. I once heard a really old legend about how the Hound warriors in the days of the old tribes would feed their Mabari the flesh of the vanquished. Well, that's what I heard anyway. It would sometimes be human flesh. Oh, like you can tell the difference. For all you know, maybe you've already been fed something. Someone.
Don't listen to Alistair, he's full of sugar.
Hey!
Look at what your fool dog placed in my pack. A putrid, half-eaten hare is not something a woman wants to find in her unmentionables. I think I have enough meat where it counts, and I certainly don't need it in my pack. The dirty mongrel can have this back. There. And tell him not to do it again.
You heard that, lady.
I don't want it, you worthless fur bag. He is certainly manipulative, I can tell. I do it too.
I like Stan. Back away slowly.
You are a true warrior and worthy of respect.
What do you need? You don't have to do that. I know you didn't know him as long as I did. I should have handled it better. Duncan warned me right from the beginning that this could happen. Any of us could die in battle. I shouldn't have lost it, not when so much is riding on us, not with the Blight and everything. I'm sorry. I'd like to have a proper funeral for him. Maybe once this is all done, if we're still alive. I don't think he had any family to speak of. I suppose he did. It probably sounds stupid, but part of me wishes I was with him, in the battle. I feel like I abandoned him. Yes, I know. I think he came from High Ever, or so he said. Maybe I'll go up there sometime. See about putting up something in his honor. I don't know. Dwarves don't practice cremation, do they? How do your people honor your dead? I heard about that, now that I think about it. Their spirits return to the rock, strengthening the foundation of the Taig. It sounds so strange.
Don't be so ignorant. These are our customs.
I suppose you're right. Thank you. Really, I mean it. It was good to talk about it, at least a little. I'd like that. So would he, I think. What do you need? Ask away. Oh, did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfells. A whole pack of them, in fact.
It must have been tough for them.
Well, they were flying dogs, you see. Surprisingly strict parents, too. And devout Andrastians to boot. Or did I dream all of that? Funny the dreams you'll have when you sleep on a cold, hard ground, isn't it?
I'm going to hit you very soon.
You would do violence? Upon me? I am shocked and dismayed. The dogs would never threaten me like this, you know. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Arleman wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough.
Bastard.
I was young and resentful and not very pious. Of course I blamed him. I remember screaming at him like a little child. Well, I was a child, so I doubt it was surprise. Arleman eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, then you, Arlessa, resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10, just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me.
You are lucky.
I suppose you're right. I wasn't raised as the Arl's son, though, if you're picturing that. I slept in hay, out in the stables, not on silk sheets. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid, stupid thing to do. The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming. I think so, yes. This news we've heard about him being sick disturbs me, though. I wonder if we won't discover that Loghain has come to the same conclusion as we have. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story.
Okay.
You're a hard man to find. Where are my manners? The name is Levy. Levy Dryden. Did Duncan ever mention me? Levy of the coins? Levy the trader? Really? He never told you of old Levy? We've known each other for years. But here I am carrying on while you have a blight to stop. Don't want to waste your time. But you see, Duncan promised that together we'd look into something important for the Wardens. And for me. But poor Duncan's... well, no more. A tragedy it is, at that. But I know he would want his work carried on. His pledge fulfilled. My family, well, past a bit checkered to see. Nobles look at us with disdain. My great-great-grandmother, Sophia Dryden, was the last Warden commander of Ferelden back when the Wardens were known as freeloaders. So King Orland banished the Wardens, and he took House Dryden's land and titles. Duncan wanted to reclaim the old Grey Warden base, Soldier's Peak, and perhaps we'll uncover evidence to restore my family's honour along the way. Nobody's been to Soldier's Peak since the Grey Wardens were banished, but I found a way. They say it's haunted, and it's certainly dangerous. Will you help me? A thousand blessings upon you, Warden. I'll mark down the location on your map. When you arrive, we'll pick our way through the tunnels together.
Ah, it's good to see you, my timely rescuer. Bodon Feddick, at your service, once again. I saw your camp and remember the kind offer that you made the last time we met. And is there anywhere safer for a poor merchant and his son to sleep? I think not. I'm perfectly willing to offer you a fine discount for the inconvenience of our presence. How does that sound? Good? Yes? Wonderful. Thank the gentleman, won't you, boy?
Thank you, sir.
We won't be a bother to you and your companions, I assure you. If you should need enchantments, simply talk to my boy. Otherwise, come speak with me.
Hello.
The boy's a bit simple, but he's rather good with enchantments. One of those tranquil fellas actually called him a... what was it now? A savant. I had no idea such a thing existed. He can fold lyrium into almost any weapon or piece of armor, though naturally some of the more extravagant materials will take more lyrium than others. It's a process that some of the master smiths back in Orzammar will perform, but my boy here is just as adept at it. Isn't that right, boy?
Enchantment!
And there you have it.
Enchantment!
Okay.
Are you sure I can't interest you in this hat? A pair of earrings, perhaps? A cheese knife? Oh, nothing so unusual and so interesting as you and your companions, I'm sure. Dwarven merchants are common enough on these roads, aren't they? I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Let's just sell all the crap we gathered. All of these gifts are free. That's strange. Okay, I will get this one. Alistair Dole. Coronary prayers. Chant of light on a bridge. Chastity bread. I should give this to Alistair. Uncrushable pigeon. And backpack. Yeah, backpack should be useful, but 7 gold. Wow, I don't have that money. Could just get one. So yeah, I got some gifts. Okay, let's talk to Stan. I really like Stan.
I am hardly surprised. Very well. Speak then.
Yeah.
And I suggest we move on.
Okay.
As you wish.
You might open up later. Okay, very small again. There.
What do you wish of me? If you must. Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be?
You mean, is she truly the Flemeth of legend and story?
Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience. I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire. As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her. The tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the bard, and fled the castle of her husband, the dread Lord Conabar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conabar the jealous lord who looked on from afar. Lord Conabar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife, and Osen agreed. The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement. All would have been well had Lord Conabar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed,
and swore revenge. That was not the point. Conobar had no honor, so she would not have him. Flemeth begged the spirits to aid her, and 'twas they who slew Conobar. The demon the legend tells of came later. Lord Conobar's allies chased Flemeth, you see. Chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies.
Makes sense.
The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began. You ask if I have sisters. I have asked of this myself. The stories tell of many witches of the wilds after all, not just the one, and these tales existed long before I did. Flemeth refuses to speak of other daughters, if they existed, so should I believe I am her first? I doubt that too. The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her. How often is this usually? Always? If not always, then when is it not true? There are more things in this world and the next than you or I could ever hope to understand. What Flemeth became is a mystery. I suspect even to her. Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless. Ah, then you have my sympathies for what it is worth. Which is very little, I am certain. It matters not. Let us move on. What do you wish of me? If you must. Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I? Beg pardon then while I jump for joy. What is it you asked? If I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness. For the most part, Flemeth taught me well. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for. Equal parts daring and foolhardy, perhaps. Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a Chastened who happened to be traveling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested. Men are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting? Do not speak to me of trivialities. Your culture is not so entirely different. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes, how to eat at a table, how to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again. You are a fine one to be pointing out the humour of fate. Shall we examine your predicament on the whole? Let's not. Me? I prefer the jest on me to the jest on you. Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes? Yes? If you must. I was not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemeth's, taught over many years in the wilds. The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend. Oh? I truly doubt that children would be worth the effort. They are filthy, smelly things full of tears and snot and trouble. That said, I cannot speak for the tastes of my mother. She has, after all, lived a very lengthy time in the wilds and done many things I know nothing of. Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know? No? 'Tis not unheard of in the remote corners of the world. There are traditions of magic outside of the circle of magi, despite what those mages would have you believe. Some of these traditions are old, indeed, passed down as carefully guarded lore from one generation to the next. The zealots of the chantry would uproot all such practitioners if they could, but as luck have it, some still exist. My mother is such a one. I am surprised you think so. Still, 'tis a pleasant thing to hear. There were nights when the wilds called to me, 'tis true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But my life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary. They do not shy away from me. To their senses, I believe I seem like any other of their species. As to what they think, I truly cannot say. Just as I am still human, no matter my form, they are still animals. Thus they cannot speak, even were I to ask. The form of an animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess. Indeed. Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination to be put to the torch? Oh, you're simply full of surprises, little man, aren't you? But enough of such talk. Let us proceed, lest the dust gather on us.
New ability.
Yes? At times, perhaps. A world full of people and buildings and things was all very foreign to me.
Actually believed that you would protect me. And now look what you have done.
We will see
What?
each other again.
What? What was that?
What did I have to compare it with? In time, I began to wonder, of course. I recall the first time I crept beyond the edge of the wilds. I did so in animal form, remaining in the shadows and watching these strange townsfolk from afar. I happened upon a noblewoman by her carriage, adorned in sparkling garments the likes of which I had never before seen. I was dazzled. This, to me, seemed what true wealth and beauty must be. I snuck up behind her and stole a hand mirror from the carriage. It was encrusted in gold and crystalline gemstones, and I hugged it to my chest with delight as I sped back to the wilds. Flemeth was furious with me. I was a child and had not yet come into my full power, and I had risked discovery for the sake of a pretty bauble. To teach me a lesson, Flemeth took the mirror and smashed it upon the ground. I was heartbroken. And a foolish one. Flemeth was right to break me of my fascination. Beauty and love are fleeting and have no meaning. Survival has meaning. Power has meaning. Without those lessons, I would not be here today, as difficult as they might have been. They did indeed. To return to your original question, perhaps my time in the wilds was indeed lonely, but such was how it had to be. I find myself at times wondering what might have become of the girl with the beautiful golden mirror, but such fantasies have no place amidst reality.
I
Yes?
see.
So, full of questions, are you? I assume you were actually asking whether Flemeth herself gave birth to me. Truly, I do not know. I once asked Flemeth that very question, and she merely laughed at me. 'Tis not inconceivable that she could capture a chastened man, or perhaps change to a more attractive form to attract him willingly. I find it more difficult to imagine her with child. It seems likely, does it not? In an animal form, a babe could easily be spirited away and raised as Flemeth's own. I do know the tales of Flemeth having many daughters, even though I have never met another, and Flemeth has always treated me as her blood. I would have nothing in common with them, nor any need for what they might provide. Flemeth taught me everything I needed to learn. How to survive, the meaning of power, the truth of men. If other mothers do not teach these things, then I believe them the lesser. Room for coddling and weakness? Why should such things be desirable? Take yourself. You do not honestly desire such things from me, do you? 'Tis better to be free of such cloying and cluttering delusions as love. Such vehement agreement. I imagine that should please me. No matter. I tire of this discussion. Let us move on, shall we?
Yeah, I agree.
Yes? Well, here I am. I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell, and the darkness drew me in. When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rose bush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith. In my dream, I fell, or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the blight devours everything? He's still here. I hear him in the wind and the waves. I feel him in the sunlight that warms my skin. I know what the Chantry says about the Maker, and what should I believe? What I feel in my heart, or what others tell me? Thank you. It's nice to find someone who agrees. I know what I know, and no one will ever make that untrue.
Yeah.
Yes? Well, here I am. Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my Chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose. When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools. Thank you. Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the Chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now. Yes? Well, here I am. What is meant by someone like me? And there were no beautiful, charming women in the cloisters, you think? You would be wrong. There were many lovely young initiates in the Lothering cloister, all of them chaste and virtuous. It added to their mystique, because then they were forbidden, and forbidden fruit is the sweeter, no? Flatterer. I, however, did not take vows, and so perhaps I am not as enigmatic? The Chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed. We affirm our belief in the Maker, in Andraste and the chant, but other than that, there are no vows taken. The Chantry does not pride, and you should. I desired time apart from the world. I was a traveling minstrel in Orlais. Tales and songs were my life. I performed, and they rewarded me with applause and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course. Let's move on. Yes? Something you need? Yes? What's on your mind? My mother was from Denerim, and I consider myself a Ferelden. Mother served an Orlesian noblewoman who lived here when Orlais ruled. When Orlais was defeated and the common folk began to resent the presence of any Orlesian, the lady returned to Orlais. She took my mother with her. I was born in Orlais and did not set foot in Ferelden till much later. Mother was always telling me stories of her homeland. I think she missed it. Mother died when I was very young. Lady Cecilie let me stay with her. I had no one else. She was quite old then, and she had me study music and dance to entertain her. It is unfair that I have more memories of Cecilie than my mother. Strangely, the only thing I really remember of Mother was her scent. She kept dried flowers in her closet amongst her clothes. Small white Ferelden wildflowers with a sweet fragrance. Mother called them Andraste's Grace. They were very rare in Orlais. But enough about that. Let us move on. Yes? Something you need? Yes? What's on your mind? I miss Val Royeaux. Unlike other cities where the people are the lifeblood and the character, Val Royeaux was her own person, and her people little more than decorations. There was always music in Val Royeaux, streaming from the many windows, quiet refrains and triumphant choruses, and always, floating above that all, the chant, coming from the Grand Cathedral. It was magnificent. Yes, I'm sure it is, but every city has a different personality. It is hard to describe. You have to be there. Of course, there are good things and bad things about Orlais, like anywhere else. Sometimes I miss it dearly, and sometimes I'm glad I'm rid of it. And you will laugh at this, but I miss the fine things I had in Orlais. Dresses, fine dresses and furs, and shoes, of course. One can't mingle with nobility with bad shoes, you see. Orlais is very fashionable, almost ridiculously so. But the shoes! Living with those ridiculous trends was worth it for the shoes. When I left Orlais, the fashion was shoes with delicate tapered heels and embellishments in the front. A ribbon, perhaps, or embroidery. In soft colors, of course. It was spring. I had my eye on a pair my shoemaker was working on. It was covered in pale blue silk, with amber beads on the toe. The shoes made in Orlais were exquisite. Not at all like these clunky fur-lined leather boots you have in Ferelden. Ugh, just look at them. Thank you. It's kind of you to say so, even wearing these mud-covered horrors. They're sturdy shoes, but sometimes a girl just wants to have pretty feet. Oh, I could talk about shoes all day, but we have things to do, don't we? Yes? Something you need? Yes? What's on your mind? Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think. Chantry lore says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In ages past, the mages of the Tevinder Imperium ruled much of the world we know. In their pride, they thought their magics invincible and imagined that they were greater than the Maker himself. So thinking, they invaded his golden city, planning to take it for themselves and depose their own creator. But they were impure and full of sin. And it is with the sin that they tainted the golden city, corrupting it forever. The Maker cursed them and cast them from his sight. Wherever they went, they spread the taint of their sin. Any land that was touched by the taint became blighted and would suffer no life. Instead, the Darkspawn arose to torment us and remind us of our hubris. Of course, Orlesians enjoy telling stories. I shall tell you my favorite tale of Aveline, the Knight of Orlais. A long time ago, a girl child was born to a farmer. He had hoped for a son, not a daughter, and so he told his wife to abandon the child in the woods. Before the cold could claim her, the baby was found by a tribe of Dalish elves who took pity on the poor mewling thing and raised her as their own. Aveline, for that is what they called her, grew strong and quick and clever under the guidance of the elves. She learned to wield the sword as well as any man, could kill a deer with an arrow at 100 paces, and was as graceful on the back of a horse as she was on foot. Aveline's Dalish guardians saw that she could easily best any Orlesian chevalier in battle, and wanted to show the cruel humans the child they had left to die. They bestowed upon her a fine horse and armor, and sent her to prove herself to her people in the grand tourney. Now in those days, no woman was allowed to take up arms, let alone compete in the grand tourney, but Aveline kept her helmet on
I
and
did
was
the same
not
thing.
discovered. Aveline won many events and gained the approval of the adoring crowd. Eventually, she came face to face with the knight Keleva in the grand melee. Aveline had already bested him in the joust, and Keleva was determined not to lose a second time. Out of desperation to regain his honor, Keleva tripped Aveline and tossed her to the ground, ripping off her helmet as he did so. Silence fell upon the arena as Aveline was revealed. Keleva declared the previous competitions invalid. A woman had taken part, and this was not allowed. But the crowd cheered for Aveline. Keleva was furious, for he had lost to a woman and was now being shamed. Blinded by his rage, he forced Aveline to her knees. "Know your place, woman," cried he, and slit her throat. The son of the king, Prince Freyan, was present. He recognized Aveline's skill and bravery and began to see the injustice done to the women in his land. When he was made king, he rewrote the laws of Orlais so that women could also become chevalier. He honored Aveline and knighted her after her death. And to this day, any female who is knighted reveres Aveline the Brave, for she is the patron of all women chevalier. Chantry law says it is man's pride that created the Darkspawn. In
I can
any
skip.
land that was touched by
Nice.
the taint became blighted, and a long time ago, she learned to wield the sword as well as any man. Now in those days, blinded by his rage, he fought this, and to this day, any female who is I know one, told to me by my mother a long time ago, it always chilled me to the bone. Maybe you have heard of Flemeth? Are you sure? Was she the Flemeth of legend? Flemeth, the devourer of men? Flemeth, mother of witches? Flemeth, demon-touched, who dwells in the mists? Ferelden mothers scare their daughters with talk of Flemeth. They say that if you're bad, Flemeth will spirit you away and bind you to her forever. They also say that Flemeth mourns her lost beauty and will steal yours through your looking glass if she catches you. Flemeth's beauty was known throughout the land. She had hair like unto a moonless night, skin as pale as winter's first snow, and eyes as beautiful and perilous as the sea. When she came of age, she came to the attention of the Lord of Highever, Conobar, and he took her for his wife. Conobar soon learned that his young bride had the gift of magic. He kept this a secret, for he feared that she would be taken from him. Flemeth stayed with Conobar for some years, and with his blessing, she practiced her art. And then one day, a young poet named Osen came to the castle. Flemeth was captivated by Osen's voice, and he by her beauty, and they fell in love. Flemeth longed to be with her true love, and she and Osen fled from Conobar's lands, seeking refuge in the Kokari wilds with the Chasing tribes. They lived there happily for many a year, till the day Flemeth received news that Conobar was dying and longed to see her face one last time. Flemeth's heart swelled with pity for the man who once was her husband, and begged Osen to return to Conobar's side with her. But when Flemeth and Osen entered Highever, they were captured by Conobar's men, and Osen was slain in front of Flemeth's eyes. Flemeth was imprisoned in the highest tower of the castle, there to await Conobar's judgment on her. Distraught at the loss of her love, Flemeth plotted revenge against her husband. She summoned a fey demon, intending for it to wreak vengeance on Conobar. But a spell went awry. The demon possessed Flemeth. Turning her into an abomination, the halls of the castle ran red with blood as Flemeth slaughtered Conobar and all his men. The last of Flemeth's humanity melted away, and at dawn, she stole back to the wilds to plot and scheme for 100 years. They say she took to her side many Chasing men, and with their help, begat her daughter witches, who even now prowl the dark places of the Kokari wilds. Which one? I have heard a little about how the elves gained their freedom from the Tevinter Imperium. When Andraste began her exalted march against the Imperium, the elves joined her cause to fight their masters. The great elven leader, Shatan, born in captivity, rose up to lead his people. He foresaw a future where the elves were free. Shatan was killed when Andraste was betrayed, but the elves continued to fight, eventually breaking free of the Imperium. The elves claimed the Dales in the south and settled there in a land of their own. The elves lived in the Dales for centuries. They resurrected the worship of the elven gods and would allow the building of no chantry. This angered the chantry, and the hostility between the two factions finally broke out in open war. The chantry says the elves struck first, but I do not know whether to believe it. The chantry declared a wholly exalted march against the elves, named for Andraste's similar march against Tevinter. During the exalted march of the Dales, the elven cities were sacked, and the elven state completely dissolved. Some of the elves bitterly accepted their fates and surrendered to human rule, living in the human cities as second-class citizens. But others, still fiercely proud of their heritage, refused to bow to the humans, and instead became homeless wanderers. They were the elves of the Dales, the Dalish. Andraste was the Maker's chosen. The Maker had long since abandoned the world when the sound of her singing turned his ear. Beauty, grace, and wisdom enraptured him, and he offered to take her from this flawed world to become his divine bride. But Andraste had an earthly husband and would not forsake him. Instead, she beseeched the Maker to return to his people once more. So earnest was her plea that the Maker was moved and promised that he would create a paradise on earth if all abandoned their false gods and turned once more to him. And this is why Andraste began her exalted march on the idolaters of the Tevinter Imperium. The Maker granted her his powers with which to smite her enemies. Andraste brought the Imperium to its knees, and her victories converted many to the worship of the Maker. Alas, it was the frailties of men that betrayed and killed Andraste. Her earthly husband, Maferath, a chieftain of the Alamari tribes himself, grew jealous as his wife's popularity and influence overshadowed his own. She was also revered as the Maker's betrothed, and Maferath began to see their own bond waning in significance as Andraste became ever more devoted to the Maker. Out of envy and spite, Maferath made a pact with the Archon Hysarion of Tevinter, allowing his beloved Andraste to be ambushed and captured. Andraste was burnt at the stake in Minrathous, the capital of Tevinter. I have thought on this too. Did he withdraw his sight from her at that moment? Where were all the powers he bestowed upon her? This question has come to me many times, and I have no answer. Perhaps there was no way for Andraste to return to the Maker but through her death. We will never know for sure. When Andraste began her exalted march against the Imperium, the elves claimed the dales in the south, but others still fear.
Okay.
Yes? Something you need? Yes? What's on your mind? Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think. Yes? Something you need? Yes? What's on your mind? Of course I do.
No.
I love stories far.
Concentrate.
Yes? Something you need? Yes? What's on your mind? Where did you hear this? And did you not think that this could be historical fact and no longer true? Not all minstrels are spies. Most are just singers and storytellers, but some of them are what we call bards. Many use the two words minstrel and bard interchangeably, but to do so in Orlais would cause misunderstanding. Bards are minstrels and more, spies as you say. Some say there is a bard order, but I don't think this is true. Many bards work alone or in small groups, doing the bidding of a patron who pays for their services. If there is an organization behind it all, no one knows who they are. Nobles mostly. In Orlais, there is much rivalry amongst the highborn. They fight over land, influence, and the favor of the empress. But they cannot do this openly because it is impolite, and in public, they wear smiling faces and pretend to be civil. In secret, they plot and scheme to destroy each other. It is a game completely meaningless to anyone but its players. I have revealed too much, it seems, but it doesn't matter what I used to be. It is the past. My skills served me well, but the day finally came when I decided to just put them aside. I found myself in Ferelden and sheltered from bad weather in the Chantry, and when the storm passed, I just did not want to leave. I like to say the Maker brought me here. Yes? Something you need? I don't think you have the correct aptitude. I could give you some pointers, though. You may be able to pass them on to someone you know. Let's just go over there, away from the others. For safety, yes? I expect there shall be daggers flying about willy-nilly for a time. Yes? Something you need? Yes? What's on your mind?
Okay. So... So what did it say about gifts? Ah.
I am impressed. My thanks.
Wow.
That's a wonderful thought. I don't know what to say.
Nice.
Oh, how dear of you. Thank you so much.
Whole lot of new abilities. Nice. Will those here? Oh no, they were out of talents. Where were those? Not a talent. But not skills. No, not here. Character record. Nope.
I enjoy the nights at camp. The night always seems more peaceful to me, safer. I feel the night grants us a reprieve from the troubles of the day. Silly, isn't it? The Darkspawn never sleep, and they lurk in the shadows. I enjoy those nights when we stand guard together, talking to pass the time in those small hours. Well, I talk and you listen mostly. Sometimes I succumb and fall asleep and wake to find you still watchful. And I know you're watching out for me.
I would be a poor leader.
What I'm trying to say is that I trust you. I'm comfortable around you. I know you'll be there when I need you. You are our leader and my friend, and sometimes I think that maybe we could be more than that. Maker, look at me stumbling over my words like an ill-educated peasant girl. Some bard I am. Really? No one told me. You felt the same way and didn't do me the courtesy of informing me? You made me say all those things. Why couldn't you have said them first? Oh, you... Oh, how very awkward. Well, yes, but don't question me. I am a woman and I reserve the right to be inconsistent. Oh, chivalry is so dead, making the lady spill her guts like that. Well, that settles it then.
GG! Well, that was Viggo playing Dragon Age. We got our character a girlfriend. Well, red beard and red hair goes well together. So yeah, this was Dragon Age. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye bye.